My name is InsaneRaven. Yeah, it's gross. And on this episode of IR Reviews, I'm reviewing Ryan Hansen solves crimes on television. And this show is ridiculous. It's a YouTube Red original, so if none of you have seen it, I understand. But it's a YouTube Red original that is pretty funny if you're watching it on a weekly basis. If you're watching it when it came out week by week, first off, while you're watching this review, this is not for you. This is for people who haven't already seen the show. But I digress. Thank you for watching anyway. Thank you for supporting me and my madness. Moving on. I can see how it can actually be pretty funny, and all the jokes would seem still fresh and new. However, with the show being a Netflix original and a streamable show from beginning to end, it's not quite the same experience. What I mean by that is that the jokes stop being funny by episode 3, which isn't even halfway through the show. They end up repeating a lot of the same jokes, most of which how crime shows are BS, a lot of inside the ballpark of how these shows kind of get made, and all these other things. While all fascinating, they stop being funny and hard-hitting and stop being almost the show's type of flavor. And I don't know, I forgot her name, the actress's name, I'm just gonna call her Pusey because that's what I know as, and I'll take the hate later on. With Pusey's character not knowing anything about Hollywood, the trope of, oh, well, you're not from here thing gets kind of played out kind of quickly. And while her character isn't wrong in how some of the crimes are committed and for what reasons are absolutely insane, making Ryan Hansen's character of himself needed plays itself out rather quickly. Now, that being said, I did enjoy the entire time I was watching the show. There wasn't a moment where I was like, oh, I don't want to watch this. I'm forcing myself to watch this for the sake of this video. I had a good time all throughout, and that's something that's really important. It's just there are only so many jokes I can take about the web series exclusive not having its heyday and still be funny. It's not to come off as almost this begging for attention type thing of, well, isn't it good for a YouTube Red series? And I mean, I don't know. For the first 2 episodes to be chocked full of YouTube Red is not a porn site, which ballsy. I'm glad you went there. It stops being funny when you realize, oh, I could be watching porn. Good side note. Good note to have. And I don't know. The show doesn't ever feel stale. It doesn't go that far. But it does feel like it's almost carved out its path a bit too deep. And if they do make a season 2, which I'll say now, I am hoping they make a season 2. It'd be interesting to kind of see where the show goes from there. They did all the tropes. They talked about how each episode has to be built off of the back of the other one. Why some shows have these bottleneck episodes and all these other really fascinating things. But I'm a bit of a theater nerd, so I found these things fascinating for different reasons that I'm not entirely sure the general public would. So those are things to kind of consider. While the show really doesn't have a overflowing, that's not the right word, a continual storyline, there are these kind of jokes that get paid off within their time, or sometimes long after I would have liked them to have ended. But there really isn't a storyline until the season finale, which is a 2-parter. Another thing from mainstream television that they joke of and then do. That was intense. on screen. And that's what the show does a lot. It'll explain things that Hollywood does, breaking them down, explaining why things happen, and then poke fun at it. But then it'll also do it. Rather it's for explaining what's going on, or just to make another joke at Hollywood's expense. It does feel like they're trying to have it both ways, and that might be that I'm just being way too critical of the material because it's on YouTube, and I absolutely love YouTube, and I want them to make good shit. I do. But you kind of have to pick a lane and stick to it. At least that's the vibe I was getting. Might not be the vibe the show is actually putting out, but it is the vibe I was getting. And that makes it sound like I'm just making shit up out of thin air. Not what I meant at all. I'm gonna stop talking on that. But all in all, I think this show is a good time with Emmy award-winning actors coming in almost left and right. But is it enough to kind of bring YouTube Red up to the next level? And whether or not they were trying to do that, it's definitely the vibe I was getting from the jokes of how this was going to be the show that brings people up. And even though Ryan Hansen hasn't really done anything new, which is another long-running gag within the show, it'll be interesting to see. I mean, you had people like Kristen Bell, and the guy who was on 2.5 Men, but it wasn't Charlie Sheen or Ashton Kutcher, the other dude. And you have all these other type things of actors becoming recurring members of the show. It's interesting, and it's something that I think the genre does need. I would kind of explain it as this show does for cop shows that Scrubs did for doctor shows. While not nearly being on the same wavelength, it is something that it's the best kind of way I can make the comparison. But all in all, I enjoyed the show, and I look forward to seeing a season 2, which was teased at the end of the show. After explaining how how doing a thing on a 2-parter would be kind of douchey. But, you know, it's just my opinion. If you guys watch Ryan Hansen solve his crimes on television, what do you guys think of it? Did you guys like it? Am I being too hard on it? I want to know. I want to know your opinions and stuff. That's what I'm supposed to say in this part of it, right? Yeah. Jokes. I'm kidding. But all in all, it's a fun show. It's something that I'm happy I watched. It made me laugh a couple of times. Made me go, shh, more times than not. And I don't know. I feel like had I watched this on a weekly basis, I don't know, 1 episode per week type thing, I feel like I would have enjoyed the show much more than I did, because so many of the jokes are kind of similar. And that really is my biggest critique of the show. I do suggest you guys give it a chance, see if you guys run into the same issues I did, and let me know in the comment section down below. But I think that's gonna be it for this video. I don't really have much to talk about. It's kind of an episodic show where it's taking a hard look at police dramas and seeing if they're worth it. And I enjoyed it, so maybe you would too. I don't know. Do better. That's what I'm saying. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.